broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 60 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks Vacation Club podcast. I almost forgot again.
Were you
what
laughing
we do.
because it's 60 or just because?
I'm laughing because I just almost forgot what our show is. It's always a bad way to
60
start.
60 of them. That's, you shouldn't be forgetting after 60, maybe after 3.
60 is kind of crazy. I know 50 felt like it just happened. Like, I don't even know how we just got to 60.
Yeah, well, you and I record a lot of shows together, Tom, so I'll take the blame for this one. You could be like going, Chad's here, like, what's up with that? So,
so yeah, I should point that out. So that is not Trevor. So that is our buddy Chad from My DVC
It could sound
Points.
like Trevor with the cold he has, though. We don't know.
That's true. So unfortunately, Trevor's at the doctor with a bad cold. So hopefully Trevor's out there feeling better. But instead we have Chad with us, who's, those of you that have listened to the show for a long time, you've heard Chad many times. Chad's like one of the first listeners of the show. I think you're like the first person that emailed us, Chad. So
okay. Hey.
You've been early on. So but yeah, so we're happy to have Chad on today. Even though we of course miss Trevor, but yeah, so Chad, I don't know if you want to quickly, just for any new listeners, just quickly tell us about your podcast and what you do.
Oh, sure. Thanks, Tom. I'm the host at My DVC Points podcast, and what we do on that show is it's all about you, the DVC members. So I sit down and talk with DVC members about their personal opinions, experiences, and preferences, and sometimes it's a one-on-one interview, sometimes it's a group collaboration for a resort review or a restaurant. We've got some series coming out on Saratoga and Poly coming up. So that's what my show is.
All right.
Tom, I feel like, if it's Trevor, if it's Chad, why does everyone have a nicer sounding voice than us?
That's true. I don't know.
I don't know either. Gosh.
Though a couple listeners lately have been mistaking my voice for Trevor's, which I do find funny. We've gotten at least 3 emails in the past week that have said Trevor said this on the show, but it was actually me that said it. So
I mean, do we know if they really went back and listened, or maybe they just assumed? Not that they confused the voices, but maybe they just confused.
It's possible.
Yeah.
But I did tell Trevor this, and he said he was going to start saying a boot a lot more. So to make sure that everybody knows he's the Canadian one on the show.
Oh, there you go.
Throw an A in there, and he's all set.
Throw an A in there. Yeah. He just started doing more Canadian stuff. When he says queue up for things,
Well, Trevor's new mic, man, that thing's a home run. So
Trevor sounds a lot better. Yeah. And unfortunately, he's got all this construction going on in his house, so he doesn't have a good place to actually broadcast at this point. So
I know that. I know that firsthand. That's tough.
Well, yeah, we lost you for a couple months there because with all your stuff going on.
Exactly.
So yeah, but we actually, I don't know, Damon, if you want to read this email we got from a listener, just for some context, if you didn't listen to the last episode, I was talking about Club Cool and how there used to be that I seem to remember that there used to be something where you would walk through a snow, like where it was snowing, and we have a listener that wrote in to confirm this. So.
Yeah, I don't know if Tom was really there. I mean, he says he was there.
I was there. I was like, what are you talking about?
No, unless he's got pictures that he's willing to share.
I remembered it.
He was on. He was probably looking at pictures on Mosaic, way before Internet Explorer. Mosaic. Anyway, Rebecca writes, "Hiya. I think it was Trevor that had asked for someone to email you all with information about the Club Cool snow in the 90s during episode 59. I was a roll hopper at Epcot May to June 2004 on my Disney College program. To my dismay, one of the first assignments was shoveling snow in the tunnel of Club Cool after moving from Illinois to Florida. The theme was reminiscent of Antarctica. It was reimagined shortly after my colleague was hit in the head by a massive block of ice from a faulty
We shouldn't laugh
snowmaker.
at that.
Yeah, when she was shoveling snow. She had a concussion. That's why it's not funny. If there was no concussion, it would have been a little bit funnier, but fun times. I'm sure she's fine, so we can chuckle a little bit.
Yes,
I'm not sure if the change was directly related, but it was interesting timing. I hope this helps. Thank you for your great content. I enjoy listening to your podcast. Kind regards, Rebecca. P.S. My fiance loves Beverly and found the trick you pulled on your wife while taking care of your son amusing. We have a 1-year-old, so I'm sure he could find So I'm sure he could see himself pulling a similar move during our honeymoon and our first visit as DVC members. Well, congratulations. And that's in October.
Nice.
So,
well, thanks for writing in and confirming that I'm not crazy and that I wasn't just making that up, because I swore I remember.
Well, I don't know if anyone thinks you were making it up. The question is that do you have pictures confirming you were there?
I mean, I'm sure my mom has.
See, I have river country pictures.
Yeah.
So, like, I could attest to being there, but I'd like, maybe you need to talk to your mom and get some pictures going here.
I'm sure she's got a photo album somewhere of all those Disney pictures. I've been trying to get her for years. There's a picture from like 1987 of her standing in front of the I think it's the Japanese pavilion with like 80s hair and like a fanny pack and like, so I've been trying to get her every time we go to recreate that picture, and she just won't do it. So one of these days I'm going to get that done. But
what I want to know from episode 59 is what's Karen's retaliation? Okay, because she's got to be coming back with something.
No, she didn't come back with anything. I
don't think a Beverly requires a retaliation. I mean, it's not so painful enough that, I thought maybe I would get some retaliations for some of the things I've done at Disney, but I don't think Beverly's one of those. I think it's a quick yuck and move on, I think.
I don't know, man. I'd be in hot water. That's all I'm saying.
The funny thing is she did not get me back on that one. She might at some point. We always have a bet going on though with like, when we go on Toy Story on Midway Mania, on who's going to win. And the last time we had a bet, I won. And my bet was that for the rest of the day, if I won, that she had to call me, every time she addressed me, she had to call me Tom, the greatest of all time. So that was her punishment for that. But she's never gotten me back on these things. She just, I guess she's better than I am. So I don't know. Damon, what was the thing? What was the thing you had your wife say? What was or your friends? Was
Rhubarb.
It your friends or your wife?
No, my wife. Rhubarb.
And
it's funny because when I meet people that listen to the show, they 100% remember that. So
I swear to you, I thought it was like grapefruit or something. I don't know why it was rhubarb. Now I remember though. That's a lot of episodes ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I'm excited to talk about this first one though.
Oh, you're excited to talk about this first one?
Yes.
Oh man, this is something that people are mad about. So.
I am 100% not mad about this, but I'll let you explain it first.
Yeah, okay, let's go through this. So we've got there's a New Year's Eve event planned for Topolino's Terrace, which isn't even open yet. That doesn't open until December 16th, I believe, is when the Riviera opens. And this is Topolino's Terrace, so they're going to ring in the new year, with 200 people. So this is a pretty exclusive party. Which is interesting to me that they put it out there, how exclusive it is, probably to justify the price, right? Be treated to a European-inspired buffet, food stations featuring artisanal cheeses, French and Italian charcuterie. Look at that. Got that word right. House-made breads, seafood and pasta, European desserts, and more. Alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages are included. Musicians and vocalists will accompany the dining experience. As at midnight, people can go outside on the outdoor deck and get a view of the nighttime shows. The cost is $550 per person. $550 per person. And
wow.
It's a pricey one. And check-in begins at 7:30 and it goes till 12:15 a.m. So you're talking, what is that? About 5 hours. And there's also a strict dress code too. So you got to wear pants, and collared shirt for men, dresses, skirts, pants, blouses for women. Red accents are encouraged to reflect Italian New Year's custom. So I think this event sounds cool, but the $550 is, that's steep. That's a lot of money.
You're talking over $1,200 for a couple by the time you add tax.
I mean, the first thing is that are kids even allowed to go?
I don't believe so. I think this is adults only I'm assuming because of the alcohol.
I don't know. I mean, is it? I mean, you can go to a restaurant and it wouldn't be. Well, again, regardless of that, we'll have to find that information out. I'm okay with it. Right? Again, no one's forcing you to go. I think the price is the exclusiveness of it. Because if you're at a party, New Year's Eve party with 1,000 people, maybe it's a little too crowded. Maybe, I'm okay with this. I mean, again, no one's forcing anyone to go. No one's saying you have to go. There's other places you could be. But I kind of dig it. Well,
it's nice that they're offering it, but to your point, they're not forcing you to go. And the part that I thought was really cool here, and kudos to DVC for this, was they gave DVC members a 2-day heads up, and we got to book it 2 days before the general public did. So that part is cool.
Yeah. I'm surprised it's not DVC members only. I figured since it's a DVC resort, it would be only DVC members, but...
Well, it depends on how popular it was on the 16th and 17th.
Yeah, could be only DVC members for all we know.
That's true. I find this, and at the same time, I'm in the same general camp as you guys with this, where it's like, no one's forcing you to do it. And this one's not even like the 4th of July thing at Top of the World, where it was taking something away from the DVC members.
Yeah, so what's going on at Top of the World for New Year's Eve?
Same thing. They're not the same thing as this, but
it's not
the same thing
as
like the 4th of July. I mean, where they're shutting it down.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Let me take that back. So it's not the same thing as what's happening at Topolino's. They're doing a similar event to what they did for 4th of July, where they're shutting it down to general members.
Yep. So what does that mean? What's that price? And what does that include? And what's all that's going on there?
I actually don't have that on here, but I'm sure I could find it out. Chad, do you know off the top of your head?
It seems like 4th of July, we dropped down from 130 or something to about 99 or 110. After they got the initial backlash from it, they dropped the price.
Oh, did they? I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, at the same point in time, when that came out and everybody started getting all upset about it, I actually looked into my Bay Lake bylaws, and that room is not owned by the members.
Nope.
Not at all. So the fact that we get access to it at all is a nice perk and a privilege, but we don't own it. We don't pay the dues on it. We don't pay anything on it. So they're free to do with it whatever they want.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, looking at this again, just the amount of food and the type of food at this experience for $550. So, right.
Open bar. Open bar is a lot of that cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not too mad about it.
I'm not mad about it. I'm just looking at it going practically. I have a family of 5, and that's dang near the cost of an annual pass.
but we don't even know if kids are allowed, right? That's the first thing. And then what would be a cost that would be acceptable?
See, that's the thing. That's why I think they said 200 people, right? Because when you say 200 people, that's exclusive, right? And you pay premium for exclusive, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's part of why they said that, because it's like, okay, well, because it's this exclusive. But I'll tell you this, with my friends, when I was in maybe when I was 25, we did New Year's Eve in New York City one time at like a bar. It was like a club thing where we had like a little VIP section and open bar and stuff like that. And that was probably like $350 at the time. So
exactly.
It's, you're paying for the alcohol, first of all, the open bar, you're paying for the exclusivity, and then you're paying for the views, right? You're also paying for that and the food.
Well, and I think you made a very good point. So as Disney is a destination for people all across the country. Somebody from New York wouldn't even balk at this price. They wouldn't, because it includes food and alcohol. They're just not even going to balk at this price. I think the problem ends up being is that when you encompass the whole country, you start to bring in, different price points that people would expect. Like you said, in New York, you would expect something at this price, but maybe not in another part of the country. So, yeah, again, it doesn't surprise me living where I've lived before.
Yeah, I get that.
I guess I look at it like this as well. It's no secret Disney is a for-profit company. And I'm sure if I were to dig into my mutual funds and my 401k, I own Disney stock. So let them make their money, okay? Just me as a consumer, I have a choice to attend or not attend. And if I was there, I wouldn't attend. But charge $1,000 if you want to, if you can get away with it. It's no skin off my nose.
And that's how I feel in general about these things. And we always talk about that on the show all the time, is that we don't really care if they do stuff like this, because no one's twisting your arm to do it. I can see why some people got upset about the 4th of July thing, because it was they didn't give a ton of notice, and some people scheduled their trips thinking that they were going to have access to that lounge. But, there were other days you could go. They still had the 4th of July fireworks on the 3rd. There were some other things there too. But I could see why people got upset about that one. But as far as people getting upset about these upcharge events in general, they don't bother me. I don't have a problem with them, because, Trevor did the after hours one and said it was amazing. So, and everyone that I've seen that have done it has really liked it. And I don't know if that really hurts anybody else. I don't know in the way of park hours, in the way of the value of your tickets. I don't know. But in general, I don't find these to be that big of a deal. So, I don't know. Damon, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, I think that was it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've covered it pretty well.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's listening and is going to go to this event, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to know how it goes. It sounds very fancy. It sounds too fancy for me personally. I don't know. I'm not a fancy person. I would not do well at an event like this. So, let's see here. Anybody want to read this next one, or you want me to do it?
Go ahead, Tom.
All right. Cool. So, Disney confirms plans for a walkway from Grand Floridian. Wow. I don't know why that's a tongue twister, to Magic Kingdom. So those of you that have, taken the monorail before, past the little area over there, you've noticed that there are pathways that just kind of end, right? That are going in between Magic Kingdom and Grand Floridian. They don't connect. It doesn't, they stop at a certain point. So finally, and I think the reason for this was probably always because there's that little canal there, where the floats come out for the electrical light parade at night. So they probably have to, they got to build a bridge over top of it, right? So they can actually still come out from under there. But, permits have been filed to build a, full walkway all the way from Grand Floridian to Magic Kingdom. And they've actually confirmed this. This is a permit that was filed, but they've also confirmed that this is happening. Like I said, it's a path to nowhere right now. And I also looked too, DVC News actually did the math on this and figured out how long of a walk it would be and said it's about the same, walk from, Hollywood Studios to Boardwalk. So, I mean, that's not that bad. So my question is, would you walk if you were staying at Grand Floridian or at Poly? Would you walk to Magic Kingdom if you had the choice?
I walk all the time. If I can walk, I like to. Right? It always allows me to eat more food. That's the way I kind of look at it, especially when you're on vacation. The more I walk, the more I can eat. So, okay, I'm okay with that.
Walk off the calories.
Man, exactly. I'm excited about this, and it's not because there's a walking path or walking to Magic Kingdom, because I never find getting to Magic Kingdom a problem.
It's getting home.
It's getting out at night after them fireworks, man. The more pathways they can get out of that place when those peak firework hours are done, the better. I'm excited for this.
I'm usually asleep by then, so that doesn't impact me too much, but I get what you're saying.
Well, and that's true because the more, even if you don't use it, other people are going to, which takes stress off the rest of the transportation, right?
Agreed.
Yeah, options are awesome. Options are awesome.
That's why, when I've heard some people oh, they're going to open the Skyliner, are they going to get rid of buses, or are they going to get rid of the monorail? I'm no, I think they're all of the above on this stuff. You have to diversify your transportation options to help the whole system out, and that's why I'm excited for the Skyliner and for that to open and everything. So, which we're going to talk about in a few here. But I think this is a great development. I'm excited. I'm wondering how it's going to work though. Are they going to build a drawbridge over there? Are they going to allow people to stand there as the floats come out at night? Because I think that would be a cool little place to just kind of stand and watch the parade come into the lagoon every night. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be. And I think I did see somebody make a comment about the Liberty Bell, or the Mark Twain. I'm probably getting my parks confused here between Disneyland and World. Okay. But that boat has to come out sometimes, maybe for servicing. So that's where the whole drawbridge concept got.
Because they can't just build it's got to be it would have to be a really tall bridge, basically.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to get that ship out of there and float it out to Seven Seas Lagoon for some odd reason.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, we have no word on how long this is going to take. Obviously, but they already started on it. I don't know if you guys saw, but they've already started on this. So, I mean, it seems like they're really accelerating that whole entrance experience thing that they're working on, and I think that's a really good thing. So,
kudos to Disney. Excited.
Yeah, for sure. This is great. And I'm sure the runners out there are very excited about this too. Not that I'm part of that. For me, it's why would I work out on my vacation? I'm just, I'm already walking 10 miles a day. Not to besmirch anybody that works out on the vacation. Okay. I'm just saying for me, not my deal, but
Speaking of this, Tom, it opens up another video that'll be fun and creative. Did you see the video that came out this week from the guy who did the monorail race, and he did it from MK to Contemporary this week?
I saw it, but I didn't listen to it. I didn't know what it was. What exactly was the concept of this? It was a guy running against the monorail? Is that...
Yeah, so last year at this time, he recorded a video where he had somebody inside the monorail, and he jumped off at TTC and raced the monorail to Poly to see if he could get back on the same monorail. And the video went viral in the Disney community. So this year at the 1-year anniversary, they redid the test from MK over to Contemporary.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a fun video. I'm not going to give away any spoilers because I think it's fun and worth making, but maybe we'll get you some links and throw into the show notes.
There you go. Yeah, no, I didn't, I saw bits and pieces of that, but I didn't, because I saw it shared a bunch of times, obviously, in all the Disney groups, but that's pretty neat. I'm sure he was hoping for a stoppage for the track to clear, right?
Something, right?
Yeah,
something.
You got to hope that they needed to stop. Although the past time I was there, we went on the monorail a bunch of times. It didn't stop once, but I don't know.
Yay for working monorails.
I have never been there. Literally, I've never gone up to the monorail and then been like, oh, it doesn't work. It's broken. That's never happened to me. And I said that to somebody and they're like, sure you haven't. I'm like, no, I really haven't. I don't know what to tell you. It just hasn't been broken when I've been there. So I don't know. But anyway, so what else do we have to talk about here? So, Chad, do you want to talk about the not so scary Halloween party stuff?
Yeah, I can go ahead and introduce that. So Disney just has announced several returning favorites and some all-time new experiences, including a highlighted debut of the incredible Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular fireworks show.
So we're not going to have Hollow Wishes anymore? That's what it was before?
Apparently not. So maybe they're upgrading that show. To me, they've got the technology. They've got all kinds of new tricks up their sleeves with the projectors. So maybe it's going to be a better show.
I mean, it sounds like it. It didn't really make sense to still have Hollow Wishes when Wishes was gone. I mean, but it's kind of cool that they're bringing a lot of the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff in.
Which I've never seen still.
You've never seen that movie?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, our friends are huge fans, though, so this would be interesting. But again, we've already done the Not So Scary. I don't know if I'd necessarily do it again. So we have Jack Skellington, right, is going to serve as the host for the extravaganza. We're going to get some Pirates of the Caribbean. Tom's got a lot of stuff written down here. Way too much stuff for us to read. There's some Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular. Let's see, and the Disney Not So Spooky Spectacular. The one thing that he actually did leave off this list, which is interesting, is that they're also going to be carrying over. So for the Descendants 3 kind of dance party that's going to be over at Disney Springs, they will be moving that over after it finishes up on August 11th, and it will become part of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party on select nights. It says starting the 16th, and it will be over at Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe. So that's a big thing. I mean, again, maybe not for you guys, but Descendants 3 is huge, so it's something to mention as part of that party as well.
Oh, my kids will be all over that. They are just huge Descendants fans.
Yeah, and my daughter as well. So I think that's going to actually be a really nice addition to the show as well.
I did see that, and I think that might have been after I wrote this, but because I think that was just announced pretty recently, wasn't it?
I covered it on the 19th, I think, for my website. So yes.
Okay. So yeah, so that's a pretty new one. I'm interested too, though. I see where it's talking about, it says Jax Goes Zero, flies off carrying, everyone along a trick-or-treating adventure. In my mind, the first thing I thought was, a figure of Zero flying off the castle, like Tinkerbell does. But I don't think they're doing that. It sounded, that was the first thing I thought of. It'd be kind of cool if they did, though.
Yeah, well, okay.
Never know what they have in store.
You don't. I mean, at Disneyland, and I believe, don't they have like the Up House flyby during one of the shows? Don't they do stuff like that at Disneyland, don't they? Am I making that up?
I don't know that I've ever seen that.
He's making that up like he was at the Club Cool during.
That's not true.
time.
I was at Club Cool. I was there.
I know. The Land does a killer overlay for Haunted Mansion with the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh no, I'm not talking about Halloween. I'm just talking about for their regular nighttime show at Disneyland. I'm pretty sure they did something with the House from Up, but I've never been, so I can't comment on it. But I like this idea, although I heard it got some bad reviews of the live actors inside Pirates, because they did that last year, and I just heard that it wasn't as great as it could have been. But hopefully they've made it better this year. That sounds pretty cool. Space Mountain being completely dark. I wouldn't know about this, but I'm sure that's cool for you guys.
Yeah, Hyperspace Mountain, really cool, really, really, really cool.
That's good. Yeah, I've heard that's really cool. What else is new on here? It looks like there's a lot of different stuff.
Well, there's the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular.
Did they not have that before?
I've never been.
Oh,
that's
wow.
one party that it just doesn't cooperate with the Michigan's teacher schedule.
Well, now it goes all the way into August. So what's that?
Yeah, I've been once. I've been surprised though that it was August 16th. I mean, how am I doing Halloween in August?
Yeah,
I don't like that so much.
Early. I mean, it feels so early. Well, and I'm going that first week of October, and I realized that I had scheduled dining reservations without thinking about the nights that Magic Kingdom closes early. So like we usually go to Magic Kingdom on our first day of our vacation, but this particular vacation, the first day is not so scary. So I had to move some reservations around because now we're not going to go there the first day because, Magic Kingdom closed at 6:00 or 7:00 for the party. So I had to redo basically our whole schedule for this next trip, which really kind of
feels like it's still going to be light out later too in August.
Yeah,
that's
probably.
The other thing.
Yeah, it probably will be. Probably like an 8:30 sunset or 9:00 even.
Yeah.
Well, and I was worried because I have a September 30th. I have a dinner reservation at Whispering Canyon, and I was like, I know I'm going to go see the last Illuminations. Like, I have to go and do that, and I'm like, am I going to be able to make it in time? And I was like, yeah, but I'm sure it's not until 9:00 that night. The park closed at 9. It's probably at 9. So I got 4 hours to eat and then get myself to Epcot. I'm sure I'll be fine.
Yeah, where are you having dinner at that night?
Whispering Canyon.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but you'll have to take a boat to MK and then monorail over and TTC and monorail again or Uber or something like that.
We'll figure it out. I'm assuming that Epcot's going to be a madhouse for that last show. I'm assuming a lot of annual pass holders are going to show up for that one, and I'm betting a lot of people are going to show up for the last ever show of Illuminations. That would be my assumption.
Yeah, I would think so as well. I'd probably move my ADR to someplace in Epcot and be there early, but
yeah, I'm still thinking about it. Well, I'm going to figure it out. I'm not happy with the way my next trip is set up right now. I've got all sorts of spots that are missing, and it's not good. I'm a little stressed about my next vacation because I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do with it yet. And having 7 people has made it very challenging to get some dining reservations.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot harder to get dining reservations. I'm used to just my wife and I, right? It's just 2 of us. So it's easy. You can get a reservation anywhere pretty much. But when you have 7 people, it's a challenge. So, that's
us every single trip.
Yeah, I'm sure that's been tough.
We're at 8. We're at 8, and it's every single trip. And yeah, we do run into some reservation problems.
Well, and I also just completely I spaced. I don't know how this happened. I completely spaced on making my dining reservations at 180 out. I never space on that, and that somehow I did. I just completely forgot.
I could just eat in Disney Springs every night though, so honestly, I don't care that much anymore. Ever since Disney Springs kind of went, restaurant crazy, I don't care so much about dinner.
You got so many great options over there.
You do, and I mean, again, I'm not a stay late show sort of person, so it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, we do Disney Springs an awful lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things over there, for sure. And that's what I've been trying to look at some different options maybe to do that instead of, what we're trying to get really badly is a reservation at Sanaa, and it's been really hard to get a reservation at Sanaa with 7 people. That's been borderline impossible. And we're staying at Kidani, so it's like, we figure we're right there, but
it's okay.
Now, have you tried the trick of breaking it up into a party of 4 and a party of 3?
Yeah, I thought about doing that. It's just, there's not a lot of reservations out there. It's surprising. And not for Sanaa used to be a hidden gem. Like, it used to be one of those places you could get a reservation at, and I feel like the word got out, And so now I think it's a lot harder to get a reservation than it used to be. But I also thought about just leaving the baby off, and doing 6, because I feel like 7's kind of a weird number. Like, if I did it at 6, and maybe it would be a little bit easier, and then when I get there, it'd be like, oh, I didn't know I needed to include the baby, and then they could just, throw her on the end of the table. But that hasn't worked either. That's been a challenge,
I think that's what people do with the 7 divided into 4 plus 3. Is they show up with 2 parties and then they go, by the way, if you could get us together, and they try to work you in that way.
Yeah, I could try that. I don't know. I hope nobody from Disney's listening to me trying to find ways around the system here. Not that they care. Sure,
they want your money.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So let's go ahead and talk about this Tomorrowland sign thing. Have you guys seen this?
No.
But you haven't seen this, Damon?
Maybe I did.
So, the iconic Tomorrowland sign. Yeah, they took it out. They removed it. It's gone. Which I've seen pictures since they took it out. It just looks wrong. It's so empty and sad. But so, they removed it with the promise of adding in, obviously, a new one. But somebody noticed, that they updated the My Disney Experience app, and with what looks like a new Tomorrowland sign that is very, very basic, very, simple. So, I don't know what you guys think of this. I'm sad that it's gone, but I understand, the need to update, of course.
Yeah, I like the sign. I like Tomorrowland, and I realize that's a little bit of a stretch to say that, because the problem with Tomorrowland is tomorrow always gets here. So they can design this thing what they would think would be futuristic for 20, 30 years from now, and 20, 30 years comes and we catch up to that. And so building a perpetual tomorrow is kind of difficult.
Well, and that sign, I don't feel like the sign was at a date. Like, I don't feel like it was kind of to your point. Like, I don't feel like it was something where it was like, it looked like the future 20 years ago, but I could see why they maybe would want to update it. 'Cause it didn't feel, I don't know. I like the sign. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was a great sign, and I'll be kind of sad if they just make it super basic, just and for those, obviously you're only listening to us on audio. So for those that haven't seen it, you can go and look up some articles about this, but it's basically it looks like it's just going to be a metal ring with just kind of like Tomorrowland written on it. It doesn't seem like anything too complicated like it was before. But we don't really know if that's what it's going to look like. That might just be a placeholder in the app for whatever sign they're designing. Because I'm assuming if that's the sign they were making, that they probably would have finished it already. It doesn't seem that difficult, but who knows? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they have a lot of irons in the fire right now for construction and building, so we'll see how it comes.
I'm kind of amazed the last time I went how much they really are doing. It's pretty incredible to see how much they're actually doing. There's construction everywhere. I mean, it's literally everywhere around the parks. It's kind of incredible the amount of work they're doing. That's why I get kind of annoyed sometimes when I see people like, on Facebook, they'll complain, about the fifth gate thing, or they'll, be like, oh, Disney really needs to, add some stuff to the parks. It's like, have you been there, man? Like, they're crazy adding stuff. Like, it's amazing how much stuff they're adding.
Yeah. Pandora, Toy Story Land, Galaxy's Edge. The year after that, we'll get the new Guardians coaster, Ratatouille, Mickey and Minnie's Railroad.
Yeah.
Tron's coming soon. It's constant. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up.
Yeah. Hopefully they will. And D23 is right around the corner here, so we're going to hear a lot more. And I always love, when we have a D23 show where they announce a bunch of stuff. That's always fun, because there's a lot of different things that I'm sure they're going to announce at D23 this year. There's been a lot of rumored things, and of course we'll find out more stuff about the Epcot transformation too, which I'm excited to hear about. So that's all good. But
yeah, I hope to be going to D23 this year. So fingers crossed. I have tickets.
You have tickets, but you're not sure if you're going yet or not?
Yeah, it's just super expensive to get, out to LA and then hotel and blah, 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 blah. So,
well, especially when there's a big conference going on like that, it's probably the hotel rates probably get jacked up quite a bit too.
Yeah, everything's at a premium. So I'm just looking at the finances of it going that, and I'm sitting here waiting with bated breath for when's the AP thing going to come out for Galaxy's Edge in Walt Disney World.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's about the same time, and I'm hoping they don't overlap D23 with that.
I can't imagine they would. So are you planning on trying to go to the preview for it if you can get it?
If I can get it, yes, because I can usually find $200, $300 at most last minute air on Spirit from Detroit to Orlando, and that's very doable. Okay, but when you start talking about the prices and a car's required in LA and everything else, it's Orlando's a lot more cost effective than LA to get to.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense because I mean you get free transportation from the airport, right? So
absolutely,
that's a big saver right there. All right, well, anything else about this? I don't know I don't know what's going to come out of this, but I hope whatever sign they replace it with, it's something that's going to be really nice. And I did feel like the old one. This is all kind of part of the larger transformation of Tomorrowland, right? And we don't know what all that looks like yet. But if you've noticed, they've been repainting things. They've been kind of changing the theming around of things. Much to Damon's dismay, they got rid of Stitch's Great Escape. And who knows what that's going to be.
Horrible.
I'm still upset about that one. So.
Yeah. Oh, you were upset about that one too, Chad?
Yeah. I never really got to do the full Stitch experience there. Because every time it was like temporarily opened for peak capacity reasons, and I would get there to the park and, this attraction shut down at 6. And I would be rolling in for a nighttime MK that day. It was like, whatever happened, it was down in the day when I was there. I never got to experience that attraction.
Oh, wow. Well, and Damon, you didn't necessarily love that one. You liked it more when it was Alien Encounter, but
I liked them both. But yeah, I mean, Alien was cooler, but I mean, it definitely was not as Disney themed as Stitch was. I was okay with Stitch. I mean, but Alien Encounter was just that was its own. That was just a ride. Like that was just a ride.
I remember the warnings. I remember vividly the warnings on the outside of that ride. And how like really bad they made it seem.
Honestly, one of the most, this is so horrible to say, but one of the most interesting parts about that ride was after going on it once, watching the people that are walking on with like 6-year-olds going, oh boy. And, and in this day and age, there's not too much you want to say to other people's parenting style, right? So you can't really say too much. You're just going and looking to yourself like, oh, this is going to turn out really, really bad.
This ain't going to end well.
No, it is not. I don't think I've ever been on the Alien one where there was not a child crying their eyes out. I mean, it's horrible, but that ride was no joke. Stitch made it a little bit friendlier. Not much, but a little bit. But it was no joke. The first time going on that ride. Oh, boy.
Well, and now, Disney owns Aliens, so they own the Alien franchise.
They would never bring that back. That was such a great ride, but it was such like a vacation ender. Like I can only imagine like what happened that night to those kids going to bed. Like I can only imagine. It was probably a disaster.
Can you imagine working in guest relations at Magic Kingdom while that ride was open? Because even with all the warnings, people don't take responsibility. They probably still went and screamed.
They don't
at those
because
people.
They say to themselves, "It's a ride at Disney."
Yeah,
it's Disneyfied.
I'll tell you, the Snow White was also up there. I mean, the Witch and Snow White on that ride was also no joke either. I'm going to tell you something. That one put my daughter out for a little bit as well. That was not that's not an easy one. It was no aliens, but it was that was not an easy one either.
You know what though? Like, I feel like It's Tough to Be a Bug is almost up there. I know it's based on it's like it should be a kids show, but I mean, how many times have you done that show and you hear kids screaming and crying after that one? My wife is one of those people.
I love that attraction.
I do too. I do too.
I don't see that as one of those vacation enders. Maybe it's this kind of stinks while you're in there, but it's not a vacation ender. It's not to keep you up at night. Again, the Snow White ride that might keep me up at night. That one, that was.
But to your point, Tom, I know so many parents that will not let their kids go on that attraction, and I'm like, why don't you just coach them ahead of time and go, look, everything in here is pretend. It's pretend. It's funny. It's a surprise, and have fun with it. That's what we did with my kids, and they still go.
My wife won't go into that show. My wife has done skydiving. She goes on everything you can imagine, and she hates that show. Hates it. So, because she doesn't like bugs. She doesn't like bugs, and the spider part freaks her out. If it wasn't for the spider part, I think she'd be okay. But the spider part is what gets her. But I feel like that you're right though, Damon. It's not one where they'd have like nightmares forever, but it's definitely one they could get scared in the moment for sure.
Yes, I would agree with that.
But yeah, you're right though. Like I as much as I think it would be cool for them to bring back the alien encounter ride, I don't know. Can you call that a ride or is it really a show?
Wait, you did Stitch? You did Stitch, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say a ride still.
I guess for me, like a ride has to go somewhere.
No, I don't think so. For me, it doesn't. And again, it's not like, things are happening. I don't know. I guess you could go either way on that one.
Yeah, it's funny though, because we did Mickey's PhilharMagic, the last time we were there, which is something we always do because that's a fun show. But, it was with my daughter, and she doesn't like water in her face, and I knew she was going to get sprayed with water. So I just put my foot over top of the thing that sprays it out, because it's pretty easy to figure out. But that's, that would have been a problem. Obviously she couldn't go on Stitch even if it were open, but that's a thing you could always do too if you don't want to get sprayed with stuff and get the hot dog breath smell. Chad, you never got to experience the hot dog smell?
No, this is what I'm saying. Gosh. I'm like missing out. Every time I go back in and go, is that open? Is it open? And I cross fingers, bated breath, and it never is.
They took the sign down now. I think they're done. I think it's done.
It is. I think now they've converted it to just a Stitch character meet.
Yeah.
And when you ask the cast members, it's like, it's a 45-minute wait to meet Stitch. And I'll get dinner at our breakfast at Ohana and meet Stitch. So.
The last time we were there, we tried to do the Sully and Mike meet and greet, and we got there right as it opened, and the cast member was like, it's an hour and a half wait. I'm like, but you just opened. And they're like, yeah, it's an hour and a half wait. I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. I'm not waiting that long for any character. So, anyway. So we're about halfway through here, so I want to go ahead and do our ad here for our friends over at DVC Resale Market. If you've listened to this show a long time, you know that they were one of the first supporters of the show. Nick was on very early on in the show's history, and they've been great friends and partners for a long time. So, DVC Resale Market is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 11 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 2 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. So if you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within the first 30 days. And nearly 3,000 contracts were sold in 2018 alone. So if you're interested in this, you want to go cruise some listings, or if you want to go ahead and sell your contract, go to dvcresalemarket.com or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 1-844-382-7767. Of course, as always, let them know that Welcome Home sent you. We love getting emails from them, hearing about our listeners reaching out to them and buying their first contract or their 10th contract from DVC Resale Market. We love hearing that. Again, that's dvcresalemarket.com or 1-844-DVC-PROS. So I know, Chad, you've bought quite a few contracts from them, and you know Nick like we do, and had some good experiences with them.
Oh my gosh, they're incredible. Yes, 6 contracts strong, and My wife, when I looked for a sponsor for my show, she was just like, well, there is no other one. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Nick's it. So
Nick's the one to go to.
Yeah. I mean, we've six contracts strong, man. That's a history, and every single one phenomenal.
Yeah, they're great over there. They're really just very good at what they do. They know what they're doing. There's a reason why they're the number one out there. They have the most amount of listings. I know that every once in a while I just cruise some listings on their site just to see what's out there and see what the prices are at, and just to mess around sometimes. And then you get tempted. You get tempted to buy some more, but I just
been there, seen that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't get to 6 accidentally.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right. So, all right, great. So, what else we got here? What else do we want to talk about? We want to talk about some Star Wars stuff. I know, Chad, you've been to Star Wars Land. Damon, Chad has one of the lightsabers. He got one of the lightsabers.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Yeah, okay. How was the experience?
It was awesome. I mean, the lightsaber experience was one of my favorite parts of it. The droid building was kind of cool, but I didn't know that you really had to shop and make sure they had all the parts there, because a bunch of the parts that you see on the display wall as these are available are just sold out. And so I sat there for like 20 minutes at the conveyor belt, and finally a cast member comes up and goes, if you haven't seen this in 5 minutes, we're probably out of it and don't have it. And okay, well, that would have been helpful 15 minutes ago.
I do like that it's just a bunch of parts on a conveyor belt just constantly going by, and you just pull them off the conveyor belt. That's pretty cool. Sorry, Damon, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say that's interesting. It's a good piece of information to have. So 5 minutes is pretty much it, huh?
Yeah, it'll make the loop in 5 minutes, and if what you're looking for doesn't come by in that point in time, then give it up. And the other thing is like I built the R2 unit, and there's some little plastic pieces that you clip onto the sides of the legs, and you pick those up at your building station. Well, I had built it all to have, I think, blue legs or red legs, and I wanted the reverse color because I built a little 4th of July R2. He's red, white, and blue. And they were out of the side snap-ons, so I had to exchange the legs and take them back off and get new ones, and it worked out. I still got my 4th of July one, but inventory is an issue there. Just bear that in mind when you go in to build one.
I guess that's a good problem for Disney to have.
Oh, it's a great problem for them to have.
So you didn't buy the $25,000 one?
No, I passed on that one.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know. That sounds cool, though. But from what I've heard, it sounds like the lightsaber building experience is very cool.
It is extremely cool. At Disneyland, that was the first thing, and the cantina sold out because we had to come in a 4-hour window. And so I went to the lightsaber one and got my reservation, and my friend Terry made a beeline over to the cantina and got a big party reservation. So we were kind of able to do both, and that was really kind of cool.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I saw you. I saw he has this big case for it that you like. The case is huge that you got for it. I just found it hilarious that you were walking through the airport with it. But there's some new news here around Star Wars Land, right? So a couple of things here that have been pointed out. So there's been a lot of talk for a while about the reputation system, right? And I don't know. I would love to find out, Chad, if you experienced that reputation stuff that they've been talking about. But it looks like Disney's starting in Disneyland to install these like little screens that are attached basically to some of the registers so that the cast member can see when you're standing there. They can see what your affiliation is, I guess, what your Millennium Falcon performance was. So that kind of thing. And it seems like it's kind of up to the cast member whether they want to actually mention something to you or not. But, did you run into any of the reputation stuff when you were there?
I didn't. I mean, I was there on the 12th day that this was open. So we were still focused on doing what's visually in front of you. And I think that's the repeat visit call. Okay. Is to be able to come back in and start scanning things with the app. Because in order for them to figure out how you did on the Millennium Falcon, you have to be playing with the app in queue. And then that's how they start to put the test in and the seeds in. And then when you get on the Millennium Falcon, they can somehow link it all together. But I was so overwhelmed with all of the upfront new visual elements of it, we didn't have a chance to. And I went with some people that do a Disney Star Wars podcast, Skywalking Through Neverland. And this was like their 4th visit when they went with me. And they still hadn't made it over to all the app stuff yet. And they're huge Star Wars nerds. So I'm telling you, there's some repeatability to this land.
That's interesting because I could see that being the case where you would be so just wanting to experience the land as opposed to staring at your phone at first. But then maybe once you've done the land a couple times, then the app comes into play where you can really dig a lot deeper into it, right?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, they're fluent in Arabic or whatever the language is that's native to Batu. And so they could read some of the signs themselves from having studied it for a while, but that's just because they're great Star Wars geeks, okay? I looked at it and I was like, okay, I'll get to this sooner or later, but right now I'm just so wanting to take in all the details with my eyes that I don't need to put head down into an app.
Yeah, and that makes total sense to me. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And they probably figured that, which is... Or maybe they were still working on it, which is why they didn't install these scanners sooner. I would bet, though, that they will have these at opening for Disney World. That would be my assumption.
I would think so. I think Disney World's going to be fairly ready to roll by the time this thing opens. Because they're doing, from what I've heard, rumors-wise, like August 1st through the 16th is cast members.
Yep.
And so they're going to have some really good practice and burn time in there. Plus, they've got all the lessons learned from Disneyland.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. That's a good point. It's funny. I just was looking at the date and I was like, "Whoa, that's like soon." Star Wars Land opens soon, man. Like that's really happening. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even. I wasn't.
What are they doing in terms of getting into Star Wars Land that's going to be different than Disneyland, or is it going to be the same?
Kind of seems like it looks like it's going to be a free-for-all. And I've been saying on the show for a while, I am 100% convinced they're going to do the virtual queue, but it doesn't seem like they're going to. They've announced nothing. So
I'm waiting with bated breath for that one because I do not see how they can just get free-for-all to happen.
I don't see it either, Chad. I don't. And that's what I've been saying, but you think they would have announced something by now, although they don't need to announce the virtual queue thing ahead of time, right? They could say a day before you get there that you need the virtual queue, right? But I don't know. I've been saying that for a while, though, that I'm like, there's no way they just make this a free-for-all. But every day that ticks by where they're not saying anything about it, it makes me think more and more they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, and just being honest with you, my group that I went with was a bunch of Disney podcasters, and one of them made the comment that the 4-hour reservation window was so awesome, they were thinking about coming back and staying on property again just to come back in with the 4-hour window when it's not so nuts. So take that for what it's worth. To me, it was priceless. I got to see it all, do it all. I think I did everything but Docking Bay 7.
Well, and of course, Rise of the Resistance, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, because that's not open yet. But
yeah, of course. So that actually brings us, I don't know, Damon, if you had another thing you wanted to say there. But
no, that's fine.
No, go ahead, go.
No. I Rise of the Resistance. My feelings are hurt because I'm going to be gone a day before.
That's
so,
right.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah. So this, I was going to say to you, Damon, you're going to have to extend your trip a day because so Disney announced that Rise of the Resistance is going to open at Hollywood Studios on December 5th, and it will open in Disneyland later, actually, on January 17th, which I think is kind of interesting. I've heard through the grapevine that they were having some electrical problems, I believe I heard, with the attraction at Disneyland. So maybe that accounts for that, but you would think that, I mean, Disneyland was a far ahead of schedule from Disney World for the entire construction period. You would think that they would open sooner, but I don't know. I find that interesting, but poor Damon is leaving December 4th.
Yeah, it kind of hurts my feelings a little bit.
Man, the Force isn't with you on that one, Damon.
No, and the thing is, there's not too much I can do about it. It's not like, the kids are in school, they're already mad at me. One's in high school. He's mad that we're even not going to be there Monday and Tuesday for school. He's just all bent out of shape. So I don't think I can do any sort of extension. My only thought is that if they're saying it's open the 5th, they will be letting people on that, starting Monday is my guess.
Yeah, there'll totally be some soft openings a couple days beforehand.
It's just a matter of who do I have to talk to and who do I have to figure out, and do I even want to go through all that hassle? That's always the problem too.
You got to work some of those connections, Damon.
I'm telling you, buddy, work it.
The problem is with that sometimes is that it becomes more effort than it's worth on vacation, right? Vacation is vacation. It's not a job. So that's like kind of sometimes how I look at that. I go, oh, do I really want to like find a PR person, get contact? And it messes up your whole vacation. So I'll have to see it next time. It'll be something new for next time, I guess.
Well, if there's any, Batu cast members that listen to the show, because we know some cast members listen, hook Damon up,
Yeah, if it's going to be open on the 2nd and you can let me know beforehand, I'm all about that.
Throw a dog a bone.
Yeah.
Coordinating while on vacation is difficult.
Yeah, that is challenging. But, I mean, chances are they have to have some soft openings. They're not just going to open it on the 5th. There's going to be some... Disney doesn't just have no soft openings for anything. I mean,
but even when they did that for Star Tours, which, again, we were able to ride early, asking some of our friends in the PR department, it was, okay, well, you have to be here now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a lot of that. And it made vacation a little stressful. Because it's like, all right, well, we're somewhere else, and now we got to go back there, and we got to go right now. Like, that's the tough part of it. So, listen, if I don't see it, I don't see it. But that is the ride that I'm looking forward to. Millennium Falcon can suck it, really. This is what I want to see.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think Millennium Falcon was a solid 6 out of 10. Okay?
Yeah. I've never been excited about it from day one. So... But this seems like being in the middle of a movie.
Yeah.
Rise of the Resistance is pretty cool looking from what we know so far.
There was a supposed leaked picture of the Stormtrooper scene where there's like 100, some animatronic, some not. And it looked pretty epic. And I don't know if it was real. I'm assuming it was. It looked pretty real, but I didn't include it in here just because it was very much not sure if it was real or not. But man, that ride just seems so cool. I can't wait to check that thing out.
I'm hoping it's super immersive. Okay. I really, really, really am, because I'll just go on record as saying Star Wars Land didn't live up to my expectations. And the fact of you walk into Radiator Springs or Cars Land, you're in Radiator Springs. It's fully immersive. You're in the movie set. You walk into Pandora, again, you're in the environment that's there. Batu is a city on the outer edge that we didn't spend a whole lot of time at in the movies. So it's kind of like it's a hashtag not my Star Wars kind of feeling.
What if they include it later on in the movie? Like, what if there's more of, does that feel like more? I it's interesting you say that, because I'm sure they grappled a lot with this issue of, do we use an existing place that everybody knows? And if we do, what place is that? And,
I don't think you can, because then you're kind of locked into something, right? You can't, the movies have to take precedent, right? You can't mess with the movies. And I think that's why they did this, because, right, they can't be something where it can impact what they want to do in a movie.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I thought it was a smart decision at the time, but I understand your point too, Chad.
They're not going to make it Alderaan, that's for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's that part's for sure, but they could have made it a little bit more like ship orientated. You're inside of a ship at some part of it. There's just something missing from this all outdoor marketplace. It's like it's the Star Wars mall, because the market takes up so much room that's there. But yeah, I'm not going to take anything away from the Millennium Falcon. That is exceptionally cool. But we all kind of wanted to walk up that deck that you walk into the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
And it's all gated off. So.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people commenting about that too. And it's like, I get it. I understand, like, that would be really cool. But I also think to myself, it's like, how do you even do that? Because everybody wants to do it, right?
I don't know. They seem to do it at Harry Potter pretty well.
Well, I mean, just for that one specific spot. I mean.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. The chess table room, incredible. Okay? Absolutely, positively. I wish it was lit a little bit better for your selfies in your Instagram photos. But other than that, that room is absolutely incredible.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen pictures that it looks pretty cool. No, I guess what I'm saying is, like, walking up that ramp, like, you don't want a line of people, behind you, I guess, or you don't want the visual of that. And I guess they built it more for people to take pictures in front of than walk up into it, right? So, and you can't do both. You're either walking up into it or you're having people take pictures with it, right?
Or you build it like it's part of the virtual chess room thing, okay? Because there's multiple chess rooms outside of each of the 4 pods. You could have built a little staging area that made it look like you were doing that before you got to the chess room. It was possible, but it's space.
Are you somebody that will do the Star Wars hotel when it opens? Is that something that you're interested in doing?
I would have to go with a diehard Star Wars fan, and right now nobody in my family is. But if I were to come back in and one of my guy friends says, hey, let's do a trip, and I could save up for it and pull it off, I would absolutely do it. Because I think that is going to have the immersive edge between that and some kind of a transport from the hotel into the land and your missions. To me, that's going to be #more my Star Wars. Is what I'm hoping.
That makes sense. So, do you guys find this interesting at all that it's opening sooner at Disney World than Disneyland? Like, what do you think that's about?
Dude, people would lose their mind if they didn't. I mean, so at the end of the day, what makes more money? Where do more people go? World,
yeah.
Okay. You can't leave them out there on a ledge because they're not going to like that.
I just find it interesting that it's opening so much later than I'm surprised by it.
Yeah, I was a little shocked as well, but I'm also like, go Orlando because that's kind of my home park. So
yeah. Well, that's exactly right. I think a lot of us feel that way. Like it's a great thing for us.
Oh,
right?
Especially as DVC people, because what do you've got, like 12-1 in terms of park access to what's going on there?
Yeah, that's true. So no, I'm excited for this. I mean, I'm obviously for my trip, I'm not going to be able to go on, Rise of the Resistance. I'm going in October, and this isn't open until December. And I hope that Damon, I really hope that you're able to get on it. I think it would be cool if you did. But
yeah, we shall see.
Yep. Anything else about Star Wars Land we want to talk about?
No, but while you were talking, I did step away and grab my lightsaber. So let's see if that comes into the audio or not. Or
I hear it. I hear it.
Okay, cool.
Right. Is it just do it when you like move it around, like, or is it like you gotta press a button?
I actually have to hit it to make it do that sound. Like maybe tap it up against a monitor here, right, or the desk.
Did you have a lightsaber fight with anybody yet?
That I did not do there. Okay.
Does it feel like you could though? I mean, it's a pretty solid piece of merchandise, right? I mean, it's
very solid, and it's amazing that it's plastic, but it'll light up with whatever crystal you put inside of it. That part was really cool.
But the hilt on it is metal still, right?
It's like it's a painted metal. So yes, it's metal, but it still feels a little plasticky to me because it's so painted.
Okay. That makes sense. But heavy though, right? It's like,
yeah, it's heavy. It's quality. You look at it and you go, this is a $200 toy that I'm going to be able to play with or let my kids play with and not worry that they're going to break it. I'm more concerned that they're going to bap somebody over the head with the hilt part and hurt somebody than I am breaking the toy.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't heard like reports of that happening in the parks, like of people just getting into random like lightsaber fights in the park.
Yep. So I think, let me look here.
What happened?
I found it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I got my R2 unit as well, so I can fire him up and get you some audio clips.
Which one do you like better? Do you like the R2 unit a lot? I mean, is that a good piece of merchandise too?
I love the R2 unit. My son looked at it and he started getting geeky and wanting it, and I'm like, okay, well, save your money and we'll get you one when we go to Disney World. But we'll, I'm happy with it, and he's got a button to make him speak as well.
Oh. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's his head turning there on the motors, and see, I'll make some sounds for the wheels. But he turns and head, and yeah, he's supposed to interact with other droids as well. Like, he was going nuts in his little box that I was carrying him around. Every time I'd get near another droid, they'd like start having droid conversations. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because they're Bluetooth enabled to talk to everybody else, and it's cool.
Nice. So thanks for messing around with those. That's fun. Those are cool. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but so September 29th is we now have the opening date for the Disney Skyliner, which if you listen to the show for a long time, one of our very first episodes, I think it was like the second or third one, was us basically making fun of the fact that saying that this rumor about gondolas coming is not going to happen, except for Trevor, who did predict correctly that this was going to happen. So it's kind of cool to come full circle on this, where we initially talked about it being a rumor and now it's opening. September 29th, which is actually my very first day of my vacation. I've said this before, and I am going to do it. I am going to get a thermometer, and I'm going to bring it with me, a digital thermometer. I'm going to see how warm it is on those things, because I do think that whole thing's overblown. So I want to see how warm it's going to be. But I think it's interesting they're opening this a month later, a month after Star Wars. I thought for sure it would be open before then. I do think it has to do with Riviera construction. That's my only guess, is that they don't want people going through that area while there's still some sort of construction going on over there. But I don't know. It just seems interesting to me because they seem pretty done. But I don't know. But what do you guys think about this?
Well, I've heard that the Riviera piece isn't quite done yet, and so the only thing that'll be open will be the pop and art leg, and then the transfer over to Hollywood Studios.
Well, I'd heard that was going to happen before Star Wars, but that I thought Disney announced that the whole thing would be open September 29th.
Maybe it got delayed in production schedules or completions or project overruns. Who knows? I'm excited. I'm like you. I'm going October 29th, I believe, someplace in there, right before the weekend before Halloween. And you know what, Tom? I'll follow your suit or pick up some kind of a thermometer and test the temperature for everybody in October. We'll get back with your listeners on that one as well.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna prove this. I'm gonna prove this for everybody.
Well, you know what? That could be a fun listener thing to just have everybody kind of bring their own little thermometers and post and collect some data on it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that's going to go. But like I said, I don't think Disney figured out last week that it's hot in Florida. I think they probably considered this with the design, so I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Plus, most of the rides on this thing, most of the legs are like 6 minutes. Like, you can deal without air conditioning for 6 minutes. I mean, it's 6 minutes. So, anyway. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, Damon. I just thought it was kind of cool that we started our show with this, and now it's...
I mean, I'll ride it, but I mean, I don't think it really impacts me that much. As Chad was saying, though, any venue for more transportation is always a bonus, right? So...
Yeah, exactly, because it takes stress off the buses and, well, really just the buses and the case. I guess the boats, too. Yeah, I guess boats, too. So, yeah, because, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the boat launch after the fireworks. It's crazy.
No, I was probably sleeping by then.
You were definitely sleeping by then.
Everything after fireworks is crazy. So,
and truthfully, the Skyliner's not going to fix that, right? Everything's going to be crazy. I mean, it is what it is.
No, but hopefully it can relieve it a little bit, or diversify the load. Okay,
exactly.
Unless,
right.
Of course, it's lightning or raining or something like that the boats and the Skyliners are both down, and you're stuck back to buses
or minivans or walking. We've walked from Hollywood Studios to Boardwalk before. It's not that bad.
In the lightning?
Not in the lightning. I guess it wasn't in the lightning, but yeah, I don't know. So I'm excited for that. It's cool that it's my first day while I'm there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to the opening or not. I'm not planning on being in either one of those parks, and we're staying in Animal Kingdom, so I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to get over there for the opening as much as I would love to. But if it were just me by myself, I 100% would. But, obviously got, my wife and daughter and then all the family that's coming with us this time around. So let's talk Beverly. I had been joking before, that I was going to make shirts that say,
I was about ready to say, Tom, it is t-shirt time, buddy. Well, it is t-shirt time.
I know. It's the Save Beverly, the hashtag Save Beverly. Shirts. I said I was going to do that, and I didn't because, they said Club Cool was coming back, but now it looks like Club Cool is not closing until September, but Beverly is gone. It's completely gone. It's not available anymore. It's not available at the Coca-Cola store either. And those that don't know, Beverly is only made for Disney World. They don't sell it anymore outside of Disney World. It only exists for Disney World. So it seems like they just stopped making it, which is crazy.
Well, given the taste of it, I kind of see the demand.
But it's a classic thing, though. It's a classic thing. You can't, I don't know.
It's classic Epcot now, okay?
Yeah.
But if the home country is abandoned it, there's an authentic deal to come back in and pull it. But
I get it. But I mean, they even had a themed drink around it at the Coca-Cola store, and now that they can't make that anymore, they took it off their menu. So I don't know. I'm sad that Beverly's gone, but
yeah, I'm sad as well. But it does make me feel a little bit better knowing it got pulled out of the home country. So
knowing that the only reason they made it was for Disney and not for anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they come up with a replacement for Beverly, so to speak, that is legitimate, authentic, and still in its home country.
Would you prefer one that tastes good, though? Because, you know, the whole fun of Beverly is tricking people with it, right?
No, I still think they need a Beverly-esque in terms of flavor and appeal.
Who does that one appeal to? I mean, somebody likes Beverly, right? I guess.
Somebody liked it for a while because they created it and sold it.
I guess so, yeah. I'm going to have to make those shirts. If you want to save Beverly shirt, let me know, and we'll put them in the store. Which is, what's the website again, Damon?
Store. Oh, gosh, I don't know. Yeah, what is it?
Store.welcomehomepodcast.com.
Yeah, that might be it.
I think that's it. Thank you, webmaster.
Yes. I can only do things and remember them for that week. You know, once it goes past that week, there's not much else I can do.
That's fair. We did hear a comment or two about the price of the shirts. So, you know, just so everybody knows, you know, they have sales on that site all the time, but also, you know, we had some writing on the back of the shirt that, you know, jacked up the cost. So I took that off, made them a little more affordable. So check those out. We're going to have more stuff in there. Like I said before, you know, there'll be more designs and more fun stuff in there. But to start off, we just have our logo. So, you know, check that out. And thanks to those that have bought some stuff so far. I don't know about you, Damon, but I've been wearing my shirt around and,
no, I'm saving mine until I go to Disney.
Oh, that's what I do. I save them for the parks.
Yeah, I'm doing that too. What if I'm outside and it gets like a rip or something? I don't want that to happen.
That's true.
But, you know,
I mean, it's just like the Figment though, Chad. I mean, you know, who opens, you know, a collectible Figment, you know, in general? That would be Tom. It's the same thing. He probably wears the shirts all around. Probably uses them to, you know, dry cars and stuff like that. You know, who knows?
Then they're all nappy by the time he shows up in the park with them.
Exactly. And it reflects poorly on the podcast, right? Like that's the problem.
Just because I like my Figment out of the box, you know.
I'm still looking at mine. He's still in bubble wrap, actually. He's over here on the shelf.
From moving or just from when you got him originally?
No, actually, I think that probably is the original bubble wrap from when it was actually shipped out. I don't think I've actually even seen him.
Wow.
So, Tom, I have to ask, what were you selling the shirts for?
I think they were $26 is what we don't set the price on that site. Just so everybody knows, we don't set the price. The site sets the price. So, cause they do all the hard work. They do all the customer service, the shipping, all that fun stuff. So, I think they're $20 now though.
Yeah. I mean, even so, I look at that and I go, even if it was $29, a certain percentage of that goes into support the show.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And that's the reason why fans buy the t-shirt was to represent and show they're part of your community, and B, to support the show. So whatever it costs people, buy the t-shirt.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I like to hear, Chad.
All right, I'm leaving. So I don't think I care about this last one anyway.
Oh, you don't care? You don't care about the rumor we have?
No, I really don't. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's okay.
I'm not really sorry anyway, so it's okay.
You're only fake sorry.
I'm fake sorry. Chad, thank you for coming on, and please, you know, do the service of taking up my flag for whatever I would have said on the rumor.
Hey, I will try to emulate a Damon's perspective here.
I appreciate that.
There you go.
All right, thank you, fellas.
Thanks, Damon. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
You as well. So,
okay, so we just have one more thing on here, and that is, and this is actually, this this rumor, and this rumor is being reported by WDWNT, who, you know, I has been taking a lot of heat lately for the rumors. By the way, we know these things may or may not be true. We just think they're interesting and like to talk about them. So, you know, we fully say that these things are rumor. And cause every once in a while I get an email from somebody who's like, well, you know, these things aren't always true. And I'm like, I know that. We know that. We just like to have fun with these things.
And we talk about it like it is.
Yeah.
A rumor.
Like, exactly. There's stuff that they reported this as news, by the way. They didn't report this as a rumor. I'm saying it's a rumor because Disney hasn't said it yet. So
fair enough.
So what this rumor is that Citricos, which for those unfamiliar, because truthfully, every time I've been to Citricos, it's empty. So, I mean, and you can get a reservation for it tonight, right now. But Citricos is a signature restaurant at Grand Floridian. Very nice restaurant. Looks out over onto the lagoon. It's very nice. I like it. We've eaten there, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times, and it's always been very good. And what the rumor is here is that they're going to be changing, this, Citricos into a restaurant called Victoria and Albert's Bistro. And this is kind of part of all of the changes that they're making to the lobby. You know, so they're redoing the bar there, and then, you know, they're doing some other things in the lobby. But basically the idea here is Citricos, truthfully, not that popular of a restaurant. So maybe use it's good. No, it is.
Yeah, it's good, but for whatever reason, $100 for dinner, which is about what we spent there. By the time you get dinner, a drink, that kind of a deal, it's steep. Okay.
It is. Yeah. But is it going to get any less steep with the Victoria and Albert's name? I feel like it's going to get more steep, right?
Yeah, but you've also got that bistro thrown in there too. When I hear the word bistro, I don't think I'm going to walk in there and drop $100 on a meal.
That's true.
Okay.
No, that's true. That's true. And for me, you're right. I mean, it was one of those restaurants. Where it was good. It was a solid meal. It was never bad. It almost reminds me of another Grand Floridian restaurant, which is Narcoossee's, which doesn't get a lot of love, but we've been there a couple times and it's always been a good meal. But it's not one that, you know, when you go on a Disney Facebook group and someone asks, what are the best signature restaurants? No one ever says Narcoossee's or Citricos. They just don't. I don't know why. 'Cause they're good restaurants, but like you said, they're a little steep for what they are, right?
I think it's pure economics. And the amount of people that are willing to shell out is not your mainstream Disney family.
Sure. Well, and that's you're totally right about that, because the only time we've eaten at these restaurants is for special occasions, right? So we ate at Citricos and Narcoossee's on our honeymoon, right? We ate both of those. Like we've done one or the other as our signature dining, you know, like we typically tend to do like one signature dining per trip. I don't know how you do your trips usually, Chad, but like when we do like a week there, one of our dinners is usually like a signature dinner before we had a kid anyway. Now we don't do any signature, but our signature dinners have been replaced with character dining, which is just as expensive, if not more.
Yeah, true that. So.
You know the deal. I couldn't believe when I got the bill at Garden Grill. I was like, oh, this is all right, but not, you know, $50 all right. But
yeah, we're 3 kids deep into the don't do signatures. So
yeah,
I think at the last really nice meal that was just my wife and I, we had one of them on the last trip, and it was Turf Club over at Saratoga. Highly underrated. Highly underrated. Another little hidden gem.
You know, I've heard we've always loved, you know, probably our favorite, I would say, signature is Le Cellier, right? We love that restaurant. And I know some people will call it overrated, and that's fine. You know, everybody's got their own opinion on these things. It's one of our favorites. It just holds a special place for us. We've always had great service there, great food there. But then I've always heard people say that, the Yachtsman's better. So so we're going to check that out on this next vacation. So, and plus we're going with my dad, who is a huge meat fan. He loves steaks. He loves his steaks. So I think that'll be a good place for him. But, have you ever been to Yachtsman? 'Cause I've heard that one's great.
Yeah. So like, because I'm in the character dining deal and my wife's not a big foodie, I typically don't do high end with her. But last February I did a guys trip with 2 of the guys, and we just kind of said, hey, look, we're saving our pennies and saving up for this one. And so we did Citricos one night, we did Yachtsman, we did Flying Fish, Oh. And it seems, we also did the Coral Reef restaurant as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm actually doing that one this next trip. I've always wanted to eat there.
Yeah, Coral Reef was a one and done for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For what you pay and what it is, it just didn't seem like it was a great value to me. It just seems dated and old in there, and I don't know. We were sitting in the very back 40s. We didn't even have a really good view of the fish tank, but watching fish swim by as you're eating fish, that just seems like a little odd, right?
That's like going to a steak place and right next to a stable where they have all those cows.
Yeah. I just don't want to see that. Okay. It's take me up above land with it so that I'm like at a beachy theme or something along those lines. I'm good. Okay.
I'm excited to check it out. I've always wanted to eat there. So
yeah. I'm excited for you because I look forward to hearing your review.
Well, and also because, my daughter, she likes fish. She likes living seas, she likes to, to see all the fish in there. So we thought it'd be kind of fun for her too. It's a nice alternative to a super expensive character dinner. I think we'll probably do a character breakfast, but because those are, slightly cheaper, slightly. And I could always go for a good breakfast buffet, but was Yachtsman good though? Did you enjoy Yachtsman?
So we thought the steak was better over at Flying Fish, but the sides at Yachtsman, no one can hang with those sides over at Yachtsman. They are just awesome.
Okay.
And the bread and everything else with the meal, Yachtsman had just nailed.
That's good. Well, that's good. I'm looking forward to checking this out, but I know we went on a tangent here, but so, I mean, if this does happen, I'm going to be a little bit sad just because Citrico is one of those places that my wife and I have had many dinners at, and it would be sad to see that go. But at the same time, I get why they want to change it. Like I said, it's not a popular restaurant and Disney's a business. I mean, they're not, and this is the same thing that they did to Artist Point. We loved Artist Point, right?
Oh, but Artist Point was awesome.
Artist Point was awesome, but you could always get a reservation there. It was never crowded, right? I mean, it was one of those places that wasn't that busy. So I understand why they did it, why they did what they did. But you haven't gone since they did the character experience, right?
Yeah, I did last trip.
Oh, you did? So, was it good?
They kept the mushroom bisque soup, which I loved.
Oh, that's good.
The problem with it was I didn't get a big bowl of it. You get this little 2-ounce double shot glass cauldron.
Oh, really? Okay.
And yeah, I'm looking at it going, I miss my big bowl here. I didn't care for the fixed pre-menu where they bring out little tiny samplers of everything. Because there's things I know I don't like, and I feel like I have to pay for things that I know I don't like, and I don't get enough of the stuff that I do like. So I wasn't a fan of that. But that being said and done, Evil Queen alone worth the price of admission.
Oh,
she is awesome.
That's really cool. I like what they did with the decoration in there too. It looked really nice from what I'd seen. But
they did. Yeah, they nailed the whole 7 dwarfs in the forest kind of a theme. Okay. They absolutely nailed that one. Evil Queen is awesome. And so if you're into the characters, go for Evil Queen. The food you may or may not like. I'm not going to make any promises on that one.
Gotcha. No, I can understand that. I'm not a fan of that either. I'm not saying I'm a picky eater, but I don't eat red meat and I don't eat fish. So I'm slightly picky. The nice thing is there's, even though we're going to Coral Reef and it's a seafood restaurant, at least they'll have a chicken dish. So as long as there's a chicken dish there, I'm good. I will eat, I'll eat a good steak if it's in front of me. It's just not my cup of tea. But like I said, I'm just saying I understand why Disney does these things. I mean, they know when a restaurant's not doing well and they're a business. They're not going to keep a restaurant open that's not doing well. That's just not good business, right? I mean, Chad, you're a financial guy. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
People get mad about money grabs and all this other kind of fun stuff. And I'm going, well, A, I'm kind of a shareholder through my 401k, but B, I want them to be a profitable business because I want them to stay in business.
Yeah, exactly. And continue building new things,
And I always have empowered choices as a consumer. And that's part of why we talk about these things, and what's your opinion on this and what's your opinion on that, so that people can start to make best use out of their limited resources.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally understand this. It makes complete sense. And I hope whatever they do, I mean, it seems like it doesn't, it's not been announced yet, so we don't know when it's going to happen. My bet would be they're not going to do it until the bar is completely done. Just because they probably don't want too many construction projects at once going on. But it seems like they're going to redo the menu, remodel the whole dining space, overhaul the menu, like I said. So I think that's a good thing. It needs to be done, and it makes me sad because, like I said, I really like it, but it is what it is, right? So
I mean, things are always changing. So my takeaway from that is, if that's a special place to you guys, maybe in this upcoming trip with the party of 7, you find somebody to babysit the little one, and you and your wife head over there for one last hurrah.
Well, so it's funny you say that, but I actually need to, and it's a good thing my wife doesn't actually listen to the podcast, because she hears me talk about this stuff all day. She doesn't want to hear me continue to talk about it.
Yours too, huh?
Yeah. Why do you think this podcast exists? I started this podcast because my wife was tired of me talking Disney stuff to her. She's like, it's too much. Stop. Like, she's like, I like it, but I don't want to hear it all the time. But so while we're on our trip is our 10-year anniversary. So, we're probably gonna set something up, but if anywhere, it's going to be Le Cellier. That place is a little more special to us, I think. So that's probably what I'll do, but we'll see. Our family's already said they'll watch my daughter on our anniversary. So I just gotta figure all that out. But
oh, excellent.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. But yeah, Citrico's doesn't hold that much of a place in my heart where I'm like really sad that it's going. Like, I'm not, You're not going to be losing sleep or jerking tears over this one, huh? It's just a place we've been to that we like, and I've always been sad that people didn't like it as much as we did, So it actually kind of makes me happy that I can't get a reservation at Sanaa, because that means people are actually going, and it's going to stick around, So that bread service.
The word is out on that bread service, man.
It's all about the bread service. Forget the rest of the menu. It's all about the bread service. Get that naan going with all the different sauces. It's just, please. So yeah, you're right though. That the word is out on that place, because that place used to be a hidden gem. I used to be able to get a reservation there, no problem. Now it's getting tougher. So, all right. So, anything else you want to talk about, Chad, before we wrap this thing up today?
No, I think we hit all the main rumors that came out this week.
Yeah. We hit all the big news, right? It's funny, when I started writing this up, I was like, man, I don't feel like there's that much Disney news this week. We might have to talk about something else. And then I realized, oh wait, no, there was a lot of stuff that happened this week. So, or the past 2 weeks, I guess, since it's been 2 weeks. So, we'll just wrap up here. Normally Trevor does this, but I will do it today. So you can email us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. Please, send us some emails, questions. If you just want to say how much you love the show, how much you appreciate what we do. We love that. We hear it all the time. It's so nice. I swear to you, every time we hear it, I try to respond to every single email. If you've emailed me before, I will always email you back. Now it might be like 2 weeks later, because I'm not great about getting to it right away, but please email us questions, email us your experiences, anything we've talked about on the show that you have thoughts about. Yell at us. We read these things. If you listen to the show, we read these things, because we've, come back and brought these things to the show, many times. So, welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com is where you find that. So, like I said, questions, feedback, anything you want to send. Social media. So our big place is, Welcome Home Podcast on Facebook. And then Chad, what's your you have a Facebook page and a group. Go ahead and tell everybody what yours is.
It's really simple. It's mydvcpoints.com. It's facebook.com/mydvcpoints. Okay.
There you go.
I read off so many Eulers, I get them mixed up all the time. And then the Facebook group is the My DVC Points community group.
Yeah, join that group. Chad does a very different show than we do, but it's very complimentary in a lot of ways. We talk about a lot of similar things, but Chad talks a lot more about experiences with individual members. So I would say you probably go a little bit deeper on the details of DVC than we do on this show sometimes. So, would you call it an expert level course, maybe?
I wouldn't. I mean,
I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, I specifically tailor the content to like a mid-level user, because I feel like somebody new who's investigating DVC can listen to the show and pick up what we're talking about, but we don't have to scale it down and do a DVC 101.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. Yeah, so check out Chad's podcast, especially episode, 8 is the one I was on, I think. Oh, I was on 2.
Yeah, you've been on a couple, and you've got one coming up with us as well. So.
I do?
Yeah. Well, you've been on our live show as well, and we have to finish that one with the Team Kadani versus Team Jumbo debate.
That's right. Okay, yeah, so we'll do another one. But yeah, go check it out. Of course, listen to the one with me on it and, enjoy that one. So we've also got a Twitter. We got an Instagram, Welcome Home Pod, Welcome Home Pics. We don't use those that often, but they are there. So go check those out. As I mentioned, our store is store.welcomehomepodcast.com. Easy way to get there and, check out, the little merchandise we have now, but it's neat stuff. We got some cool things on there. So go check that out. As always, please review us on iTunes, or any other service that you use that has reviews. We like to see these reviews, good or bad. It's nice to see the feedback and, it helps the show out because it gets us more exposure, when people start searching for a Disney podcast. So, please do that if you can. We would appreciate that. We have a very good rating right now. Not as good as Chad's. Chad's got a better rating than we do, but
we can fix that, guys. And here's how you do that, right? Write about what you like about Tom's show.
That's right.
Okay. What is the benefit that another user would get from doing this? Tell us what you benefited from it and click the 5 stars. It's that simple.
I like it. You just asked for 5 stars. Just give us 5 stars, everyone. Okay. We deserve 5 stars.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. See, you're better at this than I am. So don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any podcast app that is out there. You can find us. Just search for Welcome Home and look for the Disney Welcome Home. Cause like we've mentioned before, there are other Welcome Home podcasts out there. Of course, just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company. And as such, any and all opinions we express on this show are our own. So, consult a DVC representative, a Disney cast member, talk to Disney, directly, about any of the things we talked about today because, we're just some fans talking. And, if you want the real information, go talk to them. So big thank you to DVC Resale Market, as usual, for sponsoring this episode. We love them. Please go check them out at dvcresalemarket.com. They are the best. And, Trevor, I almost just called you Trevor, Chad. Anything else you want to promote before we end the show today?
No, man, I think we've hit it. So if you like both of our Facebook pages, that would be awesome. And keep coming back over. I mean, we take listeners all the time from our show, Tom's show.
Yep.
We know we share a bunch of people and they're in our Facebook groups as well. And like I said, we collaborate very well. So if you like Tom's show, you'll probably like mine.
That's exactly right. There's more than enough room for a couple DVC podcasts. We don't compete with each other. We share listeners. Some people like your show better. Some people like ours, I'm sure. I don't know. But we have a lot that listen to both. So we appreciate that. So, thanks again, Chad, for coming on today. I really appreciate it. It was a good sick call for Trevor. So I appreciate you coming on last minute today to join us.
Oh, no problem. And it's always a pleasure. And thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion and, of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
We do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.